Alright guys, today we are looking at the quotient rule of exponents, which says when you divide like bases, you subtract your exponents. Again, remember that when you're talking about bases and exponents, in this example, x is the base and 2 is the exponent. So we're going to keep our base the same and we're just going to subtract our exponents. In example 1, I have 2 to the 4th over 2 squared. And my bases are both 2, so they're like bases, which means I'm going to subtract my exponents. So this is going to become 2, we keep our base, to the 4 minus 2 power, which is going to become 2 squared, and that's 4. Okay, pretty straightforward. In example 2, I have x to the 5th and x to the 3rd. The bases are 5 and 3. And I just need to remember that they have to be in the correct order. So I have x to the 5 minus 3 power. Remember, you're subtracting the bottom one from the top. So this becomes x squared. In example 3, I have 3a squared b squared over 2b. Now, 3 over 2, they're not like terms. They're not going to reduce. A is not a like base. There's not an a in the bottom of our fraction, so I'm going to have to also keep a. And then I have b squared over b, so this becomes b to the 2 minus 1 power, because there's an invisible 1 in the bottom of our fraction on b. So this becomes b to the 2 minus 1 power. So this is 3a b to the 1st over 2. Or you could write it as 3 over 2 times ab. Either way. In example 4, I have negative 4xy over 2y to the 4th. 4 and 2, they're not like bases, but they can be divided, they can be reduced. The only like bases that I have up here are y to the 1st and y to the 4th. Okay, so my y's are like bases. So what I'm going to have is negative 4 divided by 2 is going to be negative 2. So those reduce. I have an x that I have to keep in the top of the fraction as well. Then I have y to the 1 minus 4 power. So this is going to become negative 2x y to the negative 3rd power. Now, normally we're not allowed to keep negative exponents, but we haven't learned about that yet, so for now it is okay. In example 5, I have 2m squared p squared over n p to the 4th. So I don't have like terms with the 2, the m, or the n. I don't have like bases there. What I do have is p squared and p to the 4th, so that's what I'm going to work with. Everything else will stay the same. So I have 2m squared over n. And then in the top, I have p to the 2 minus 4 power. This is going to become 2m squared p to the negative 2, and we're dividing by n. In the future, we'll talk about when you have a negative exponent, this would actually go down to the bottom, and it would become positive. So this would be 2m squared over n p squared. Okay, but for right now, this is just fine. In example 6, I would try and reduce this to make it easier on yourself. The 3's and the negatives cancel. So you're working with x to the 4th over x to the 3rd f. Well, obviously x to the 4th and x to the 3rd, those have like bases. So in the top of my fraction, I have x to the 4 minus 3 power. And in the bottom, since I don't have a like base for f, it has to stay there. So this becomes x to the 1st over f to the 1st. And that was the quotient rule of exponents, guys. Hope you have a great day.